Come on, Twitch. Come on, just you gotta want it. You got it. There we go. We have the bit rates. I assume that it was Steam. Oh, Steam hogging the bandwidth. You know what Steam's like. Ugh. No, I shouldn't say bad things about Steam. I quite like Steam, really. It's an amazing thing. So anyway, yeah, I'm doing this thing. This is called Strem, and it's basically like an open source. You know what? Let's just load a page. Have I got a Chrome window somewhere? Let's get a good old Chrome window. Oh no, let's do an incognito one. Oh no, why would you have all the hotbar stuff on the incognito? Doesn't make any sense. But let's use a different browser. A different one without hotbars and stuff. You there? Come here, Edge. Here we go. Oh, in private. Don't anybody see any of them. Go to the old GitHub. GitHub. Look at all this stuff. It's like, why be in private if it's just going to show stuff I've searched for before? Apex, that's an old one. That's a very old one. Anyway, GitHub, Strem, app. It was going to be Strem, but somebody's got Strem. Like, if we look at here, look at this. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? 2012 appeared. Look at this. Their one contribution to GitHub. They joined. Since then, nothing. Dead in the water. I mean, I hope they're not dead. I hope whoever Strem is still alive. But I mean, I'm programming. Well, I'm not right now. I'm just complaining about somebody whose name holding. But yeah, if I go back a bit, my God, how many back buttons do I need to press? Strem app. There we go. So this is it. This is what the code was. So that code that is this thing, right? So, and also Lime. Hello, by the way. So because my friends who I'm in Discord with are like, oh, you're making this app thing. Oh, we want to have a tutorial on how to use it, and I'm like, you know what? I can't be bothered compositing a proper video, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna do some dev. I'm gonna dev tippy tappy while I'm making it, and add more stuff in. But at the same time, I'll go through. I'll be like, look, this is what it does. This is what it does. Cool things. And well, to be fair, GitHub used to, like, you could go to where is it? You could. Oh, I'm not signed on there because it's incognito. But you could go on there and there'd be like a little support thing. Say, hey, people at GitHub, could you just nudge those people off GitHub who aren't actually real people anymore? And they go, you know what? Forget about it. And they'd sort it for you. But they don't now. They actively say, no, we don't do that. We don't do that here. So, yeah, anyway. So, normally, by the way, I'd be playing games or something. I do occasional coding streams. I once did a whole stream on how to make a turn-based RPG, a tactical RPG in the browser with Blazor and an ECS framework. And that actually turned into a real project. Anyway, let's not. So, you know, I'm gonna press play. Well, where better to start than actually showing the app thing. So here we go. Look at that. It's initializing stuff. Woohoo! Right, so here we go. Look at these things. So you can make flows. And so I don't know what it's be. Oh, that'll be. Oh no, that's a Java update. We don't want that. No, we don't do that here. Yeah. So this thing here. Let me shrink it a bit because normally I run at 4K, and this isn't 4K. This is very little. This is like 1080p. So yeah, this is live. Anybody can go download this. Like anybody, you let you go download it now. And what it lets you do is you know what? Let's add a new flow. Let's do something simple like Twitch says hello. And we'll put this in Twitch category. Why not? So we've got this new one. It's not enabled by default, but and these are all floats, as you can see, because I'm developing on it live. I'm adding stuff and testing stuff. There's a load of guff there, but you can ignore most of that. So let's do something simple. You know what? We can do this live. We can do this live, and you can interact with it. So let's do on Twitch chat message. Let's plop that there. Boof. And on this, when a viewer anyone, yeah, I want it to contain contain. Hello, Strem. And what should we do when that comes up? We should. We'll write to the log. Let's not be too crazy. So the notion here is we have tricks, and I'm kind of doing this half as a lazy how-to guide, but also just amusing my own self while streaming it. So it's a bit ad hoc, but let's just roll with it. So text to log. You know, I'm gonna put in the log. What variables do we get out of there? Output variables, because tasks, triggers, stuff they output variables. So if you've used anything like Touch Portal or StreamerBot, you'll be very familiar with all this sort of stuff. So let's see, where's the chat person? Chat.username. So let's see, the chat.username said hello. And you know what? Watch this now. Oh, it knows that that's a variable. Look at that. He's a maniac. Able to shrink that. Kate. Oh my goodness! Right, let's reset the trigger. Let's reset the trigger now, because when you change stuff, you kind of want to. You sometimes need to reset it just to like propagate the things. So now we've got that right. So trigger on Twitch chat message received with text match, and the text match is hello Strem. So can anybody just type in hello Strem? Any derivation of that really? Just type in like hello Strem. Or yes, you look, there's Twitch message. He's coding. That's from a different task. I've got a different task there which checks for stream chat. Maybe I should probably turn that one off because that was when I was debugging. Twitch chat said, let's disable that flow. We don't need that one. You know, let's disable all the flows apart from the one that I actually care about. Yeah, so, oh no, did I just do the wrong one? Enable flow. Yeah. Okay, so, if I go to integrations, no, logs. Hello, Strem? Yeah, but where did it say the thing on there? Oh, maybe I shut the wrong one down. It's enabled. Yeah, hello, Strem. This isn't going well, is it? Chat username said hello. Logs. You know what? I'm gonna do it. It's not got SQL. Hello, Strem. If I go back over and I refresh, Grofit said hello, and I did because look, that's what it does. It goes when anybody. I mean, I could say, you know what, only allow moderators, please. Contains that, and I can be very specific. You know, a match is just kind of like whimsical. Oh, it has to kind of match that. Exact matches, you have to be exact case, really. Yeah, Twitch chat is IRC. But anyway, you can do other stuff here, like, oh, you can only trigger this when you give me bits. Because I'm not free. This isn't free. It is free. But I can pretend I can be like, oh, you got to treat me right. Give me the bits. But maybe you can load loads of stuff in here. So like here's one that I made before. This one here. So what this one does, let's enable that. So, and by default, by the way, you would probably just have everything enabled anyway. Oh, that's why that didn't, because I've not got that plugged into refresh. You know what, I'll do that later. But anyway, so I've got this one here, right? On mic, basically, when the mic mute state changes, right? And look, I've also ticked it to trigger on start as well, because that annoys me on other apps. When at the start, you've got to wait for it. You've got to wait. Thanks. I'm glad it looks good, right? So on mic, right, when that's changed, it checks, is the source muted? If it's true, that might seem a bit baffling going, why am I doing a Boolean comparison as a text? Just roll with it. That's because really, everything's stored as text behind the scenes in lovely JSON. But anyway, right, so we got that there. If it's A, go off and do this. So change the test button, and we'll get to portals in a minute, right? We're just covering flows at the moment. And I'm going to change the text color, I'm going to change the text, I'm going to change the icon. I could change the image and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not too crazy. But if it's muted, then oh, you know, I've just realised I haven't actually got a restream chat on. So if anybody's on YouTube talking to me, I'm really sorry. It's not that I don't care. I'm just very ignorant, really. Oh, I've got to sign in now. No, what's my password and stuff? Can we have some guesses as to what my password is? Maybe it'll rejig my memory. Is that right? No, invalid email or password. Okay, let's try a different one. Oh no, I'm gonna do a capture. Oh, look at this. I hate captures. I'm not an AI. Just stop it. And it's not even a bicycle, it's a motorbike, you stupid thing. Traffic lights. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, it's in. Look, we're locked in. Whoa. Right, anyway. So, right, so yeah, where were we? We were back to this. This is why I should have probably done it as a proper recording, but I've not. But also, look at this. I was quite happy with this. You see how it's these are subtasks, right? These are fairly new. These were only in the last release, and it's like, wow, look at this. You can have. You know what? I can be crazy. I can be crazy. You know what? Let's put another if in there. Let's get another if statement and go. You know what? And look, you can plot this wherever you want. Wherever you want. Another if in there. I'm an if within an if within an if. No, get out of there. We don't do that here. Anyway, right, so that's flows, right? So you got all these triggers, as I said, and the trigger can be as banal as you want. So let's add another one. You know what? Let's just do every 10 seconds say poop. Let's do that. Every 10 seconds say poop, and I'm gonna go on interval, plop that there. You don't have to have triggers, by the way, because you can have tasks execute other flows. So where is it? There's one in here. Execute flow. So I can put that in there as well. And also these things, they can be shrunk. You can filter. So I'd be like, I don't want ones with chat. I don't want ones with Twitch. Twitch chat. I can't even spell. But anyway, you get the point. Oh, and there's disabled elements. You see any disabled ones? A disabled element means that like, oh, I haven't got OAuth permissions or something, or oh, I need to actually be of a certain user credential or something. But anyway, I can do stuff with them. Like I can go put them in, but they wouldn't do anything because they're inactive. Because if we look at integrations, I mean, skipping over a different thing. This test area, by the way, you'll never see that. As end users, you'll never see test area. That's for me as a developer. I mean, you could clone this repository and run it in debug to see the test area if you wanted to. I'll show you quickly. You see that? Wow! That's me testing different things. I'm gonna I add a tag. Look at me. Yeah. So anyway, we can ignore that area really. But in integrations here, you see like I've currently got it connected to Twitch. I've also got it connected to OBS. But I've basically given myself full permissions for that. I haven't given myself permissions for those ones. And there's like these little helper things. But if you don't like them, you can go in here and you go, you know what? Just don't show the helpers, please. And if I go back, they're gone. But I quite like the help because. See, and look at this as well. You can go, wow, make it all small or make it all big. But I'll leave it at 100%, please. So anyway, where were we? Flows, yeah. Every 10 seconds, say poop. So every 10 seconds, yeah. And I'm gonna put a write to log. Let's write to log there. Write to log, and you know, I'm gonna put a bit of music on. I hope people don't mind. Just oh, there we go. Let's get some 8-bit retro going. And I'm just gonna say poop. Why not? Why not? And let's enable the flow, because, again, by default it disables it. I mean, really, there's no reason why it can't enable it. It's clever enough to go, you got no triggers, you're doing what you're doing. But it's just by default disabled. It's because of Boolean defaults to false, if I'm honest with you. But anyway, so let's go into logs. So every 10 seconds, say poop. What do we didn't specify anything here, did we? Let's set that to actually be 10 seconds. Should trigger on start? Why not? Why not? Reset the trigger. So as you can see in the background, by the way, you might see all this crazy stuff happening. You can ignore most of that. That's internal state garbage, which you as the end user would never see. But it's me as the developer. Oh, poop! Poop! You see that? Poop! Now we go to logs. Poop! Poop! And there you go. It's there you go. 10 seconds. There'll be another one in a second. Poop! Poop! Oh, everybody can live their wildest dreams there, saying poop lots. Anyway, let's disable that. It won't say poop anymore. I'm sorry for everybody who likes poop there. But anyway, that's at a high level. And as you can see, right, if I just go for like Twitch, we got like Twitch triggers for like on Twitch chat command, like this one here, right? This one here, clip command. So, like, I want it so that if a viewer puts in clip, right, and I can specify arguments as well, like, oh, you need to pass in like clip and a name or whatever. It'll go off and it'll do stuff. But anyway, so that there would be the command clip, and then it just says poop. But anyway, the point is that you can basically do fancy stuff on there. But anyway, let's get on to portals. So portals is an interesting thing. So that's flows, right? That's the main stuff. Well, you got to find excitement somewhere, haven't you, Mikey? And it's worth saying at this point, right, that this is super alpha. This is like, I've probably spent a few weeks working on this with a few hours here and there. You can also filter these, by the way. So I want poop, please. You know what? We're fine with all of them. So yeah, it's. I've been working for a few weeks. It's still fairly rough, but I mean, it works. It works fine as we've just seen a minute ago. Did I cancel the other one? Yeah, let's just disable that flow for now. Right. So if I go to portals, right, portals is quite a useful thing, right? So on here, I've got these buttons here. Right, let's actually call that mute button or something. Mic button. There's a bit more apparent as to what it is. So we've got this button here, right, and we've got this test button. And I mean, I can add a new button. Let's Poopsmith. Who knows what the Poopsmith button does? It's the Poopsmith. Actually, that's probably too bad. It'll look really long there. Poopsmith. And should we give it a color? Any color preferences, A1? Anyone got any color preferences? Like a nice nice irradiated purple there. We'll make the text white. You know what? We'll give it what sort of icon do we want? Do we want a is there a poop icon? Do you have a poop one? No, there's no poop icon. No, what about hand? Hand. There, yeah, yes. Peace. So there we go. So we've got a Poopsmith button. I mean, brown, yes. Let's make it so. Make it so. There we go. Oh, nice dark brown for the Poopsmith. So that's quite cool, isn't it? We just made that. But now, watch this now. View in the browser. So here we go. It's in my browser now, and I can click buttons and do stuff. Oh, you see that there? Unmuted. I know what it is. I'm gonna keep talking, right? Like a runaway train. Watch this now. Where is it? Where's OBS? There we go. Right, I'm talking. You can't hear me. You can hear me now. You can hear me. See that? So it updates. That's because I've got a flow somewhere. I've got a flow which does one of the manage mute button. There we go. That was one I showed before where it changes the styles. Do you remember that? But anyway, yeah, the point is that these buttons, they do things. And I can have it also. I can have it so that when I press that, it mutes me. You see that in the background there? Button, mic button raised. So it's raising events behind the scenes stuff. So basically, what we've got here is, it's the ability to make your own portals. And you can make many of them. I got a new portal. Super portal. And basically with Super Portal, I'm only going to add a button on there. I don't know. You know what? I can't be bothered adding a button. But if I was going to add a button, there you go. There's a dummy button. Let's go back to the real one. So the idea is that you can add all this stuff in there, and it's all super cool stuff, and you can build your own little UI things. I'm trying to plug in to-dos, which we'll get to in a minute. So, but yeah, you can make your own things here, and you can trigger, like, these buttons here, when you press them. If I go back to flows for a minute. I appreciate I'm going all over the place a bit here. But you see this button press thing? On mic button pressed in broadcaster portal, so it knows, oh yeah, it's not Poopsmith button, it's that button. And it tells you as well, this is one thing that annoys me about other apps. They don't tell you what variables they're spitting out, they just spit them out. And you're like, well, what's actually happening? Whereas here it's like, well, here you go, here's the output variables. So you can use them wherever you want. So when that button's pressed, and again, we can have multiple, I could put an on interval there as well if I wanted to. I could put as many triggers as I want. So the idea, as I said before, you've got triggers, they trigger the tasks. And in this one, button, whatever the button name was raised from whatever the portal name was. And if we scroll back in, oh god, what have I done there? What have I done? You know what? Let's bin that off. Let's just go to the logs. Logs, refresh log. And there you go. You can see button, mic button, racer, and broadcast ball. So again, it's not magic. Not magic. Well, it is kind of magic. But yeah, and like you minimize these as well. Like here's application variables. Here's behind the scenes. This is more debug at the moment. I'm kind of leaving this on for now. But oh, I've never actually tested this before either as well. But behind the scenes, right? It will constantly be going off to Twitch. It's going right. Okay, what's your channel title? And these are variables that you can use throughout any of the tasks. And it's trying to grab all the stuff and cache it so that you can use it wherever you want. So, for example, let's say that you wanted to go, oh, and when I go live, I want to put out a tweet saying, look, I'm live on this channel playing that thing with a little one of these. You know what? Let's actually see what happens if I load that up, because I've never actually looked at a thingy before. Not found. Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? Right, let's try. Let's see if it's a. Let's go 128 by 128. This is nothing to do with Strem now. Just there you go. Look, it's a little thing. But anyway, these variables are there. Let's close the poll. And by the way, the portals. It's worth. Oh, I'm so excited about this stuff. It's worth noting here, right? These polls are still running behind the scenes because a portal isn't really anything. It's just a UI with some buttons you've pre-configured to do stuff. The flows are, this is the brains of it. This is actually doing stuff. The portals are they're just the front end on it. And for devs here, the portals are actually run on the server side. So from a security aspect, all that's really happening is the server renders these bits on, and I'll show it again. View in browser. For anybody who didn't notice before, you see localhost, whatever, internally it's got a web server, and that web server is just exposing this. And I mean, I could go to this one as well. Let's view that one in browser. One button, whoop. But you notice it's not triggering anything there because I've not set up that button. And if I press that, nothing happens. If you watch down here in the logs. If I press that one again, no. Oh, maybe I'd turn that one off. But anyway, the point is that these buttons, it's like you just set up the flows and it all just kind of works. So yeah, so that's portals, right? And like these are quite useful for, as I say, you want to be able to, like, on your mobile phone or your tablet, you've got all your fancy flows set up. Be like, oh, I want to actually be able to trigger the Poopsmith meme without having to stop my game and stuff. Well, just load this on your mobile and press the Poopsmith button, and off you go. And again, you cannot. I haven't implemented it properly at the moment, but the idea is going forward, you can share this with someone. Just expose the port. I'm probably going to put password protected stuff on there. So me as a broadcaster portal will have lots of functionality on here. But let's say my mods, I only want them to have a small amount of functionality. So let's just make them a custom one, which just has a Poopsmith button. And I'm also introducing to-dos as well. So you can, and we'll get on to to-dos in a minute, but you can effectively show to-dos on there as well, which is quite a cool thing. Anyway, let's go to integrations, right? So, as I've said before, there's Twitch integration, OBS integration out the box. Well, it's worth noting this OBS integration v4, so you need to make sure you've got the v4 OBS plugin installed. I'm not going to go through that here, but it's simple enough to do. There's guides for it online. Touch Portal, Streamer Bar, all the other ones require it, so it's not like this is something magic just for this. And as you can see here as well, it tells you what output variables, these are like ambient variables. So just having this enabled will have these bits automatically populated at all times for you. And they'll be kept up to date as well. So like every few minutes it goes off and goes, oh, how many viewers have I got? Let's have a look. How many viewers have I got? It's important stuff here. How many viewers? How many viewers have I got? 3 viewers. Oh, amazing. Yeah, so there'll be more integrations going forward. And you can write your own plugins for this as well. It's not like you get this stuff out of the box and that's it. If you're a dev, you can go in, clone it, or just make your own plugins. There's a plugin folder. Just drop them in there and it should automatically pick them up. I haven't tested that, but it should work. But we'll do more on that going forward anyway. But yeah, so at the moment, I've already connected to Twitch and stuff. But you know, I'll disconnect really quickly and we'll reconnect. So we'll show the whole flow. So I go, connect to Twitch, please. That loads up a thing here. Cool, I'm done. Good to go. That might load up your actual like Twitch login, but hey, login, please. But effectively, that's it. It's done OAuth, and I'm good to go. I'm connected to Twitch again, and the output variables will have been. I mean, you'll probably see in here somewhere that it's. Yeah, there you go. It's refreshed those variables. It's validating the Twitch tokens. It's done the OAuth lookup stuff. And again, this is more for. Oh, this is a bit to get into as well. This is more for your power users of this stuff. Who are like, oh, I want to see what's going on inside and things. Some of this in the long run, I might end up like putting it behind, like you'd have to enable a dev menu settings or something. And also just to show, because I didn't really show it much before. Like it affects all the pages as well, so you can kind of do the zooming out bits as much as you want for accessibility purposes. I'll keep it at 100 though, please. Yeah, so one thing to mention, right? So when you're debugging things, let's say your flow isn't working how you expect. So this is a flow executions. This is a track of all the flows. So 25 flows I've executed so far. And I can look in each one and see, well, how long did it take to execute? That should probably be in milliseconds, not seconds. Some might take over a second, who knows? Anyway, so you can see, well, it entered the subtask for if it did that. And went, oh yeah, let's change the button style right to the log. It finished the subtask, it went off and did that. So you can see at a high level what happened. You can see the variables at the start. So when it started off, it had these variables available. And then when it ended, it had those variables. I mean, to us, they look the same. I don't think I added anything there. Some of them do, though. Well, let's have a look at this one. Did that one add a... No. But anyway, you get the point. You can debug what happened. So you can see like clearly what happened, what the execution flow was. If anything broke. Oh, I've changed that recently. That shouldn't say that. That should say success failure or cascading failure or whatever. And we'll do some dev in a minute. You know, I do actually do some dev. It might not seem like it. It seems like I just talk a lot. Which I do as well, to be fair. But, right. Oh, there's no to-dos. I got rid of them all. You know what? Let's make some to-dos. Right. Flows. New to do, and you know what, chat? If anybody's still awake out there, you know what? You can help me make to dos here. Twitch. We'll make another one under Twitch, and the categories are basically where it puts stuff on here. So yeah. Anyway, the new to do, right? So what I'm gonna do is on Twitch chat command. You know, I haven't fully... I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. I haven't fully tested all of these things. Most of them are tested. So let's make one to do. Anybody can do this, and I'm going to make it require an argument. So you have to do, like, to do poop or whatever, right? To do, I don't require anything else. So the output variables from that are all this. These blue bits, by the way, you don't really need to pay much attention to them. They're really context objects. So, for example... Let's say that you wanted to have a death counter variable for games, but you wanted to have it for Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Hades or whatever. You could have the same variable name, but with different contexts. So I could have a chat message from YouTube rather than Twitch. So basically, it allows you to be more contextual. Or like if you wanted to save the amount of virtual coins a user has, the user ID could be the context. And then everybody has the same value. Anyway, you don't need to worry about that. Right, so what I'm going to do is now, we're going to make a to-do item. Where's the to-do one? So you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use this. I'm going to go to-do, create a to-do. Right, so we've got that one. Put that there. And the title's going to be, what was the variable name? Chat command args. Chat command args. And again, this V thing, anything where you see a V, that basically means you can put dynamic variables in. So I don't have the Twitch triggers available on the one you upload today. Oh, you need to actually log into Twitch first. If you go up to here and click show disabled things, you'll probably see them. Like if I do that now, you'll probably see some disabled ones there. But if you haven't connected it to Twitch, you won't see them there because they'll be disabled by default. But anyway, so that can be the title there. The text, oh, that's a bit wonky, isn't it? Normally I've got it quite big, so it all formats nicely. And maybe I should truncate the what's it called there. The payload data, I'm just gonna leave it as text. Oh, sorry. So this is an interesting one, right? So to dos, the notion with the to-do is... Oh, I'll have a look at that afterwards then, Mikey. Maybe there's something in the logs or whatever. But the timeout here is so that, let's say, for example, the main use case for me is I've made a clip on Twitch. I've pressed my Poopsmith button. It's made a clip, right? Cool. I want to go edit that clip. So what I want to do is I want to say, right, you've got 24 hours. So hours, 24 hours to go edit that clip. So this will now generate a to-do, which will have the clip URL in there and stuff. That would be the payload that we're not populating here, because you'd actually have it as a link or whatever. But anyway, it would generate this link, and then I would basically go to the to-do bit and go, oh yes, I want me sir, I want to go do the clip thing. You know, we might actually try that live in a minute, because I've not actually tried it. It's there, but and you know what? Who made this? Well, it's gonna be whoever actually said it. So it'll be chat.username. And again, it automatically kind of populates here. So if I go poop, that's not a variable, is it? That's just poop. I don't think I've ever written poop that much in my life before. But yeah. And tags, I only added this today. Literally today. Right, so Twitch viewer. There we go. Automated. Yeah. So that's cool. Right, so we got that. Create a text to do. And again, watch this now. If I was to change that to link, it's create a link to do, but it's not, is it? It's a text one. We're not actually linking to anything. And yeah, we want to do that. So yeah, let's enable flow. Right, so basically, anybody in chat, do exclamation mark to do and some text, what you want the to do to be, and let's see what happens. I mean, it could go horrendously wrong. This is not Alexa, unfortunately. I mean, maybe you can have Alexa integration, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I also want to put TTS in there and stuff. I'll never use TTS myself, but Kirsty will then be like, oh, yes, TTS. Oh, you know, I'm going to make a to-do myself. To-do, delete the Poopsmith button. Oh, wait, that went through the wrong thing. I did that on the... because it's not Twitch chat, is it? To do... Because I've got Restream chat and I normally chat through that, but this one's configured specifically for Twitch chat. But you know what? Maybe it would have worked. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. Did it? No, it didn't. Let me type it directly in here. Delete the Poopsmith button. Did I enable it? Oh, maybe I didn't reset the trigger. Let's try that. Because, like I say, it's flying by the seat of my pants here. Some of this stuff I've tested, other bits not so much. Because that's the problem when you're developing at breakneck speeds. You're pretty much limited on the resource you can do for testing and stuff. Have I actually killed it or something? You know what, let's restart it. Let's restart it. Oh, and I didn't save it. Oh no. It'll autosave every 5 minutes. And it backs up every 7 days by default. But that'll be configurable at some point when I can be bothered putting that in. Yeah, I need to get this bit refreshing properly, because at the moment when I change stuff on here, it doesn't actually refresh that. That'll only be a few second job though, I think. So we can do that in a minute. Anyway, enable flow, Twitch to do requires arguments, and the actual important bit it didn't actually save. Create a to do, and then it was v chat. I sound like a car there. Chat, no, chat. Dot. Where is it? Chat command? It's the chat command arguments. Oh, there we go, command args. Command args. Text, let's say that it's got like 5 hours. 5 hours, let's say. And it's created by vchat. Don't use name vchat. and poop on Twitch. Cool. And is that enabled? That is enabled. And let's just reset that just to make sure. Reset trigger. Ooh, okay, right. So let's try that again. Let's try that again. Try that again. Just when it found something. No. Oh, there might be some bug there. I mean, the thing is, I've literally been developing on it recently, so my local one isn't as stable as the one in on the release thing. That's disappointing, though, isn't it? I've been like, oh, it's so cool, and then it doesn't actually do it. Here's a reviewer. Check the logs. Oh, it failed. Execute unsuccessfully. What went wrong, you silly man? What have you done? What'd you do, you silly person? Value cannot be null. Oh, of course it can't be null. I'll look into that. I don't know what I've broken there. I've done something silly. Been a silly boy somewhere. To do, yeah. That bit. I mean, the payload shouldn't really matter. Oh wait, no. No, that's the title. The payload doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because it's not linked. To be honest, oh, actually no, because it needs to have the separation thing there. Yeah, let me reset that again. Try again. Oh, don't get me started on nullable types. Oh my god. Yes, I can see it. Look, you see that there at the bottom? What to do with the poop smith? So it sees that. If I go to logs again. Oh, new to do. Maybe there's a bug with that text thing then. There we go. I've got 4 hours left to delete the poopsmith button. And as you see, there's the things on there. But we can just, you know what? Let's just get rid of that. And if I go back to the what's it called one, and you know what? Let's put that to 24 hours. 24 hours for this now. Now, if we try again. Oosh. There you go. 23 hours left on that now. And yeah, delete the poopsmith button. But what I can do. This is one of the things I was going to show before I lost my mind. Oh, there's some Sonic music. Any Sonic fans in the past, present, or future watching? What I was going to show was, let's say I turn this into a link one. I'm gonna, you know what? Let's actually have this link to ye olde GitHub Strem thing. Yeah, I still got the portal open. The portal's gone, mate. Gone. It's still a light, but whatever. GitHub Strem app. Not Strem. It's Strem app because we can't have that because somebody's sitting on that name. Strecomma. Right, there we go. And yeah, this is the repository. I mean, you go in releases, and look, here's what was new. But like, if we go all the way back down, first super often, look at this one. Oh, we've added execution logs, and moving stuff. And look, I remember when I added that one. Those were good times. And look, there's even a HTTP posting. If you ever use Postman, literally Postman, just for you to go off and use. Then to-dos and stuff. Anyway, there's loads of stuff in the releases. You can have a look through that in your own time. But what we're going to do is, we're going to have the to-do link go to there. Okay, I like all that. And the thing is, this is like, it's using like an MVVM framework behind the scenes. I don't want to bore people too much with that. But effectively, that there is going, oh, you know what? You can actually update stuff and it'll just propagate when it decides it wants to update stuff. So, like, when I do that, it's actually triggering an update. It's a bit harder to explicitly trigger an update without... Doesn't matter, you know, let's no one cares. Let's not bother going into that. Yeah, so there's that one there. So if I try it again, and I'm gonna get it to do. Oh yeah, because I didn't actually know. You see, this one's got the load link because this one's a link one. And if I click on that, oh, there we go. It's taking me to the URL. But the key thing here is, if you go back to the flow that did this, you notice how this is a V? It's a V. I could have this be a dynamic variable. I can have this be anything I wanted to. So I can literally go like, oh, well, the outcome of like, for example, my Twitch clip URL is this. Put that in there. Or I could be like, you know what? Let's go to twitch.tv/chat.username. Actually, I keep saying username. You know what? Let's try that one now. Let's try that one. To do poops. If we go to that one now, poops load link. It's me. It's me watching you watching me. Aha. Let's close that one down. We don't want that. Anyway, those are all done with. We're done with them. We don't need that anymore. But I think that's kind of a high level. That is pretty much Strem as it stands right now. Hopefully there was some useful stuff there. But probably not. It's probably just me waffling and saying poo a lot, really. But there's hopefully something worthwhile for the general audience there. And like I say, this. You can go download this right now if you want. You won't get the test area, as I said, because that's only for debuggers. You have to be the debug tier to get that. There's no. I'll do that if you want. I'll do that. Do you want? You know what? I can't be bothered. I'm gonna do some dev stuff on there now. But yeah. So integrations, as I said, you you can pick whatever rights you want. Behind the scenes, this governs what scopes are going in there. I did think, should I have granular scopes? You pick which scopes you want and which ones you don't. But I thought I'll just make it simple for people. Like, if you're your own person, you can just full them all or whatever. You have request you know, I'm not. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And yeah, your OBS thing, just connect up to OBS. And again, it caches like the current scene and scene items and things. But there's still loads of stuff that needs adding. Like at the moment, there's triggers for a lot of things. Like, but OBS is only an on mute state changed. So you know what? Let's go add a on visibility state changed one. So let's do some actual development, right? So that's how long did I spend? 40 minutes waffling there about how to use the thing. So surely if I haven't mentioned it 40 minutes, it's not worth mentioning. So there's a load of stuff to this. And this is going to be the developer segment in case anybody wants to actually develop on it. So in the app tier, you know, I'm going to shove all these things down here and I'm going to do a quick overview of this. You know what I've realised as well? I was meant to click the start recording button so I could record this locally and then just chunk bits out. But I'm a very stupid human being and I did not do that. So, looks like I'm going to have to cut it off on Twitch. Anyway. So, we got the app, right? So, as I said before, this is just like a fancy web page. It's a fancy web page. Using Blazor. And that part, the high level stuff lives in Strem UI. And the application really just bootstraps it. Like, it just goes, you know what? Just do the Blazor bootstrapper and then set up the other stuff, please. Most devs don't really care about this stuff. You're not going to mess with that. You're probably not going to mess with the Strem UI because that's like the high level pages and stuff. Like the flows and the integration pages we've seen. I mean, there is a direct correlation between the pages here and the pages that you saw as the tabs. There's a few extension bits in there, but generally speaking, this is the high level bit. You don't need to worry too much about that. Then we get into the build bit. You don't need to worry about that either. That's what GitHub uses to build stuff. You can run that locally if you want and build your own packages locally, but you don't really need to. Then we've got core. This is a very important one. So core holds loads of stuff. So there's the notion of an iDependency module. So if you write a plugin and you want to register something, if you don't know what dependency injection is, maybe go Google that. But dependency injection here goes through this module thing. If we're using Ninject or some sane DI system rather than Microsoft's hobbled DI system, it would probably be a bit nicer. But everybody else seems to use Microsoft Horn, so when in Rome. So anyway, if you want to register stuff, use an iDependency module. There's some out the box components like you've got drag and drop things and select boxes with enums and I mean, seriously, you don't really need to care too much about this, but let's say you wanted to have, you know, those fancy, the little variable things that turn stuff into variables. That's a processed input. So if you just put one of those there, it goes, oh yeah, you're processing the input. That's fine. And look, there's the regex bit. It goes off, does regex checking. It swaps it. It's actually swapping between an input and a span. Shh! Don't tell anyone. Shh! People don't like it when you put web stuff in a native app. Oh, they lose their minds. Could it truly be a native app if it's a web thing, though, internally? Who knows? That's a question for a different day. There's also like a true or false thing. There's a... Why is that even there? I don't even need that. But yeah, so these are like the components bit. But ultimately, if you're going to develop anything yourself, you're probably going to want to depend on Strem core. These aren't on NuGet yet. That would be far too professional. At the moment, everything's just in here. Once things have stabilized a bit more, I'll put stuff on NuGet, so it'll be easier for people to consume. But at the moment, I'm not too fussed about people extending it themselves in their own libraries. I'm more fussed about people extending it via pull requests and things. So that's where I focused my efforts so far. There's loads of extension methods for stuff to make things slightly easier. You don't need to worry about them too much. Flows, now this is the important stuff. This is where, as you saw, all those flow things are all in these objects here. And a flow is just an array of trigger data and task data, and that's really it. It's got a name, a category, if it's enabled, the version. I mean, you as a user don't really see much of this. But all of this it all gets munged together. And behind the scenes, it ends up in like a file like this. Bloop. And then look, there it is. Blah, 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 all that stuff there. So really, all of the stuff that you're doing in the UI is really just going to a big JSON file. And there's talk about maybe moving to a local flat file DB thing. Not SQLite, although SQLite's modern, as I keep getting told. Yeah, it is. But there's also other more modern alternatives. I think it was LightDB. It's in the issues anyway. But that's one thing to bear in mind. And there's loads of stuff from here. There's triggers, there's tasks, there's registries, which is for how you dynamically register stuff. You know what, let's not focus too much in there. If people do have questions on that, we can discuss that at a later date. But ultimately, core contains everything you will need to build out other bits. So if we look at, for example, Flow's default, this is a common sort of plugin thing here, right? Where it's got some modules. It's got a module which all it does is it registers all tasks and triggers and components and stuff within this assembly when it loads. It doesn't have a startup one. That's probably something I should have mentioned as well. There's this iPlugin startup. If your plugin should do something when it starts up, i.e., for example, the Twitch one, when it starts up, let's find the Twitch one. Where is it? Twitch, where are you? There we go. So, when Twitch starts up, it actually needs to do some things. So it needs to go, oh, let's as you can see, it because everything uses dependency injection. Wow, it's the year 2000. Look at us. Whoa. Hold on to your seats, people. Everything will just automatically get shoved in. So as long as whatever you need has been registered in the DI stack, you can get access to it. It's amazing. So if you have enough channel points, can we... Possibly. Let's doubt it though. I'm turning into Buster Rhymes as I'm going faster and faster, like a train leaving the station. It's just because I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. I'm literally oozing hype about it all. But as you can see, anyway, going back to the actual point here, when we start this one, when we do the Twitch integration plugin, because again, almost everything you saw was a plugin. Well, it seems like, oh, it's all just one big app. It's broken down to small parts, so I could technically load it without the Twitch bit or without OBS, but what's the point? But yeah, when this starts, it goes, right, okay, every revalidation period, go off and verify the token. Try and reconnect to chat if I haven't connected to chat, refresh channel details. So do you remember what we're saying where behind the scenes it's constantly going off and it's going, hey, let's go off get all this detail. Let's cache these variables. And app status sync we'll get onto in a minute as well, because that's where a lot of your variables that those V things could hook into lives. And there's different scopes there as well. I'm sure I touched on that in Flow. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And if you don't know what an observable is, you probably want to look at reactive extensions. Good stuff there. But yeah, as you can see, it's nothing crazy. It's just this registers the plugin startup, and as you can see there, when there's an event, Twitch OAuth success. It does stuff. It verifies the token. Cool beans. Right, so anyway, if we hop back to default, because default's a simple one to look at. This one doesn't start up anything, so it's just got the modules there. And literally it doesn't register the component. So within here, flows, tasks, triggers. So here we go. Let's have a look at a trigger. On app started. This is really simple, right? So this trigger here means slam poetry. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I didn't know there were subgenres of poetry, but now you mention it, yeah, there probably are. Anyway. So this one here is basically when the app starts, we just want to trigger whatever's there. So again, the triggers, they start the flows. Without a trigger, your flow isn't going to start unless another flow starts it via a task. But for all intents and purposes, the trigger starts. You can have multiple triggers. You can trigger on app start. You can trigger on an event. You can trigger when Twitch chat says to do. Whatever you want. Anyway, so we've got this bit here. Now, this is a convention. It's not forced upon you. Like, there's certain things which you can enforce at the compilation level. These things you can't enforce, but I would heavily advise that people follow this, and I'll show why in a minute. So this is a purely data object. This is what happens. This is what gets serialized behind the scenes. So if I was to add this trigger somewhere, this is what would get saved out in the flow stuff. Yeah, see you on the other side, Mikey. So that bit there, that's cool, and there's no other variables here. Like if I was to look at this one here, as you can see, this actually takes the event name. But yeah, so that's the gist of that one. Now, if I was to look at the actual trigger, this one takes the data. As you can see, the static bit gets pulled over, so it's got the same code, same version. It's got the name, so what name we should see on the right-hand menu that we saw before with the triggers, what category it's in, and a description. You know what, I'll just quickly show this just so that just so it makes sense as to what I'm on about. Right. So if I go to here again, you see all these names and the see the little what they call tooltips, the tooltips, that's the description and things. So what was it? App started. Triggers once the app is set up and running. Triggers once the app. So again, it's all set there. These things, they all inherit from this. You don't need to worry too much about this. As long as you inherit from it, it'll automatically do a load of stuff for you. So there's a pretty longish constructor, but it's fine. This is fine. And then we get to this bit, the important bit, the execute. So the execute describes what am I actually doing, and it returns some variables in an observable. So on this one, when we get the event application started, just return an empty variables. You can pre-populate whatever variables you want here. So let's say, for example, if I go to the event raise trigger, on here we actually populate the event data variable. And this one's slightly more complicated. You see we've got this variable entry here and the variable outputs, and that populates on the, so if I go back to here for a minute and go to listen for event. You see there's the output variables there. So if you want this output variables, you don't have to populate this. This is just me being nice to people. But if you were to make your own task and not populate those bits, you wouldn't see that there. Because there wouldn't be any output variables. But this is kind of telling people, hey, this one outputs event data. Hey! So that's what those bits are for. So yeah, that's a really simple one. Just when an event happens, go off and do this. And if I was to look at, let's say, the interval trigger one, this one here actually takes, should you start immediately? What's the interval value? What's the interval time type? Which is basically seconds, minutes, hours, or days. And then, yeah, again, same sort of thing. It passes out what it needs, and there's the flow string processor. I'm not going to go into that too much, but that effectively takes those V values that you see and turns it into the actual data from the app data store stuff. We'll go down that rabbit hole later. But effectively, like the other ones, it makes some variables. It goes through. It gets a time span of the things. It sets up an observable timer or an interval, depending on which way you're using it, and then that returns that. So ultimately, the contract is, if you want to make a trigger, you just return an observable with variables. Job done. If we look at tasks, let's find a simple one. An input. No, actually, that's a bit more complicated. Let's go for utility. Right to log tasks. This one here, again, it's like the trigger one. This one's iFlow task data. If we nip back to this one for a minute, that's iFlow trigger data. So as you can see, iFlow task trigger. It's not rocket science, is it? Anyway, what the name of the code is. And these should all be unique, by the way. You can't duplicate these; it'll blow up if you try and duplicate them. So the ID code version, we always need that because we need to ascertain what it is, what version it is, and you need to know what instance when you're actually using the UI. It needs to have an instance to be able to get to, so that's why there's an ID there. So this, for example, what text should I put in the log file? And well, it's not necessarily a log file. It is, but it's just known as the log because it's also spitting stuff out on the console, like you can see here. But if I go into the log thing, lo and behold, we get the text that the user's inputted. We process it with the flow string, and then we just log that information out, and we return execution result success. So the difference here is this returns an execution result, and there's a few different ones. There's failed but continuing cascading failure. Cascading failure sounds really dangerous, doesn't it? Like Chernobyl style dangerous, but it's not really. That just means I failed, please fail everything above me as well, which is useful when you've got subtasks where you might want to stop them, whatever. But anyway, that's from a code perspective. Look at that's minimal amount of code. Minimal amount of code, and that's a task. As soon as you got this, that's a task effectively done. Well, for the most part, you need to write the UI bit. So if you look at the components, and triggers tasks. So again, if we look at the app started trigger, well, really, that's it. That's it. There's nothing to configure here. You know, let's go look at that in the UI. I don't like this Super Mario Land one. Next. Not heard of Dragon Saber, but we'll keep that music. Yes, if I was to just put on an app startup, where am I putting it? Here, plop. Also, you can move these around as well if you want to. Plop and stuff. Yeah, nothing to configure here. Enjoy. I can delete that. I don't need it. But ultimately, each one of these is a component. That's what I'm getting at. I'm kind of running out of steam now. I've talked that much that my face is just dead. But anyway, as you can see, that's it there. And if you know HTML, you're halfway there. If you know Blazor, you're already there. But this inherits from a custom trigger component. If we were to look at the... What was the other one we were looking at? It was the right thingy one. Utility. Oh, that's right to file, right to log. As you can see here, again, all it does is it's just got a processed input element. It binds the text value, which again, if we go through to that, just that value there, just bind it, just do it. A placeholder, and that's it. Writes the text to logs. You can make that more dynamic. So, for example, if you had this one here, you can do write text to and then give it the file name. You can be more dynamic with that and do fancy stuff. Like some of them, the Twitch chat ones, whatever, they do quite a lot of stuff to generate a nice title so that you can differentiate what's happening. We used to actually have browse for file as well, but it became a bit too difficult to be cross-platform there. I mean, that being said, I should probably say this is only really supported on Windows right now. There's a few technical issues which would need to be solved to get onto Linux, but those are mainly around like simulating keyboard inputs and stuff like that, because it's harder to do on Linux. But the majority of stuff, the core bits, are actually like cross-platform because it's .NET 6. So yeah, that's basically it. So I mean, almost everything will come down to you have a component which is the UI bit, an object, a task, a data object which represents what goes into the file to be stored, and a doing bit which is the actual task or trigger which does stuff. And that's pretty much it. And if I go through almost all of these, you'll see the same sort of thing. Like the Twitch has components, it has the tasks bit for chat, clear Twitch chat, and there'll be a corresponding flows, tasks, chat, clear Twitch chat, data, clear Twitch chat. I mean, it's once you know it, it's really simple. And ultimately, if there's anybody out there who decides, oh, you know what, this is quite useful, I would quite like to use this and expand on it. Well, we welcome PRs. I would probably say that if you are going to add anything to it, add some unit tests. I've added some basic ones just to show like how stuff should be done, and how things can be mocked and stuff with the observables. 'Cause if you've never mocked observables before, that can be a bit tricky. So I show how to do most of that stuff in there. As I said before, because I'm literally the only person developing it at the moment, it takes a long time to do a lot of this stuff. I've been focused more on the implementation of features rather than the stability and sorting out the testing. So from a I think from a code coverage perspective, there's at best 10% code coverage, which is more than some projects I've worked on, if I'm honest. But yeah, and as I say, there's the Twitch bit, there's there's OBS, there's Stream Elements, which hasn't actually been fully done yet because I've got to get the OAuth working with them, and the triggers and stuff. And yeah, it's all fairly simple and they're all bite-sized bits. And just to give you some context as well, when I was saying they're all plugins, if I go into the plugin handler, what will actually happen is these are all local plugins, so it knows about these, so it always loads them. But it just has a preload bit just to get them in memory. Then it goes through and it just looks for all. Well, it'll also look in a plugins folder. So you could, if you're a maverick, go off and implement your own and lob them in the plugins folder. But I assume most people won't at the moment. And then yeah, it goes through and it starts plugins. So it gets the iPlugin startup, it gets the iDependency modules and stuff, and it just goes off and starts everything running. So that's pretty much it at a high level. So anyway, I wanted to add some more stuff because Mikey was mentioning that he wanted more triggers on that. So let me close this down for now. And as I said, behind the scenes, it's constantly like, we'll probably see in the logs somewhere. There you go, saving flows, saving to do. So it's kind of auto-saving stuff on the fly anyway. But when you change things, it generally will update. Oh, you know what? That was one thing that annoyed me before. User flows. So this bit here, this component, is actually the bit you saw on the left, where it showed you all your flows that had been made. However, when I changed the enablement state, it didn't actually update anything in here. So, let me quickly nip over. I'm going to put a breadcrumb there. And I'm going to nip over to, actually, I'll probably get to it from here. Flow task editor. Oh, it's actually a trigger editor within there, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. It's not. I'm being an idiot. It's the flow editor because I'm editing the flow. And when I click the enable button, where's the enable button? Here we go. So when we click the flow, right? Okay, we don't know. Let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. So toggle flow enablement. That's probably a bad name, but doesn't matter. Let's roll with it. That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Lob it in there, please. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to toggle it, but what I'm also going to do is go event burst.raise. Why have I got no IntelliSense? It lost its mind? Hello? Ryder, what are you doing to me? I'm going to make that public as well. You don't have to make things public. I'm just used to it. Hey, Lucas from YouTube. I restream. I'm doing both on Twitch and YouTube. So YouTube's a bit slower to propagate through. But hello there. I don't know why I'm not getting IntelliSense there. Let me rebuild. Let me just, and it'll poop out and go. There's no stuff there. You expecting that? You are on crack, Ryder. You know, I'm gonna put a breakpoint there, and I'm gonna close that and rethink it. There we go. Right, it's decided it knows what it's doing now. So event burst dot publish async. So you can publish if you want to like raise an event but wait for it to finish. You can do publish, but most of the time you fire and forget. So you just go publish async. And do I have a new flow enabled? Flow enabled? Is there a flow disabled? Flow disabled. Right. Okay. So I've already got the events for that. Flow. If flow.enabled. So I think this is probably some technical debt that I didn't do before. So the idea is with this that when things are being enabled, cool, we'll go off and raise the event. And you can raise events for anything. Things don't have to listen to them. And multiple things can. Right, so new flow enabled event. And what do we pass into there? We pass in the flow ID, which is fine. We've got that flow.id. Cool. And let's just duplicate that and put an else there because I'm very lazy. And that'll be flow disabled. Okay, cool. So that's that bit there then it will switch over the flow. That's cool. We want that to happen, and then we'll notify anything else that cares that the flow is enabled or changed. Maybe it should be flow state change or something event. It's a singular one. No, I'll leave it like that for now. Right, so I want to go back to the other one, which was the user flows. Yes, come on, brain, kick in. So when this boots up, I want to add another thing here: event burst dot receive flow enabled. Subscribe. I'm so used to hearing that from people on YouTube, whatever. And on this, we want to just do a state change. So invoke async status change. Now, for anybody who's kind of not so familiar with RX or Blazor, that might look a bit odd. Add to I don't actually care about the. So X is the argument. I don't care about the argument. So bin that off. And I'm going to add 2 subs. So I'll briefly explain what's happening for anybody who actually cares. So RX is kind of like a it's a stream. Effectively, it's a stream of data, and you can subscribe to that. You can throttle it. Like I could put a throttle here. So rather than calling it, I want to throttle for like 20 seconds on it, or I could do a select on there to transform the data. I can do whatever I want to that stream. But effectively here, I'm saying when I get this event, go off and do this. But also because this is a subscription, it needs to be disposed. Add it to subs, which is a composite disposable, and I can keep adding stuff to that. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing again now. I'm gonna do for flow disabled event. Disabled event. Disabled. There we go. So I'll do the same thing there. So it'll go off and do status change. Now the reason I've got this invoke async, this is a Blazor issue. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, by the way. It could be Blazor. It could be Blazor. I don't know. But we're actually, from a threading perspective, we don't necessarily know what thread we're on when this gets raised. We could be on any old thread. So this invoke async basically brings us back to the Blazor thread. It's a shortcut way of telling us, hey, do this in the Blazor world, please. So we're kind of back in the UI thread. Anybody who's done WinForms or WPF will be familiar with that sort of thing. There's a few different ways to do it as well. You can do like a schedule or activate on. Oh no, it'll be before that. Schedule on there. Observe on. There you go, and you can pass in like a scheduler there. But I find this way is a bit more syntactically nice. So anyway, that's that. So now if I run, let's run it. And it'll load up in the other window. It always does. Come on. So now, if I go to this and enable, poof! You see, it's actually updated now. Whereas before, it wasn't updating. It was it was updating, but it wasn't updating the UI bit. Whereas now it does. So that's cool. One bug done there. Boom! It wasn't even tracked, but we've done that. So let's make a new trigger. Let's make a new OBS trigger. And let's copy the flows, triggers. So I've only got the on mute state changed for OBS at the moment. Let's have a quick drink. So on here, I've got this thing here, and basically, this is for if I'm going to go onto OBS and press the mute on, let's say, the mic or desktop audio, basically anything. If I want to mute something, this trigger lets you listen in for that with the designated source name, and then do things with it. So should it trigger on unmuted? Should it trigger on muted? Should it trigger on start? So for example, when you boot up the app, should it go and find out what the mute stated is, and then go off and actually trigger that? So you get to sort that out in the UI. So I'm going to make one of those on visibility state changed. Yeah, OBS visibility. And again, anybody can develop how they want. I find it easy to just copy and paste stuff I've already got and then just alter it rather than reinventing the wheel every time. Yeah, that's going to be the same as that. Source name, yeah. Trigger on visible. Because these are really similar. This is just the visibility version of muted, really. Invisible. Visible. Trigger on invisible. Invisible. Right, okay. We'll move that to another thing. And if you're wondering, oh, no, don't do that. If you're wondering why all these menus and things are happening, I use a lot of shortcuts, so like Alt-Enter. If I do like Alt-Enter, that gives me contextual doing of stuff. I do Control-Shift-R, that lets me do refactoring, Alt-Insert, insert stuff. I do this for a day job, so I'm quite familiar with the coding tools. I appreciate for some people, this might all seem a bit crazy, and you're like, whoa, you madman, what are you actually doing? But you'll learn with time if you're a dev. If you're not a dev and you're watching me, well, hello. You're probably not going to glean much from this. But anyway, so we got the trigger, and I said before, the first part of making anything, be it a task, a trigger, whatever, is to define what the data looks like. And that looks like pretty sweet data for me there. So, let's go into here and let's duplicate this. This one's quite a biggish one because it's potentially... It didn't used to be big, but it's potentially doing quite a few things. I'm pressing Control and D there. D for donkey, or D for David, which is duplicate. In Rider, if you use Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, I don't know what that shortcut would do. But anyway, on visibility state change, and this one here also needs to be on visibility. But you see, we're making a new trigger on the fly. We're not moving mountains here. It's fairly simple, the stuff we're doing. I appreciate I know what I'm doing because I wrote this. But again, I've worked with a lot of other devs, and I don't think they'd find it too hard to pick this stuff up. So again, we want to link the data to this, so that bit's done. On visibility, you know, I'm just gonna copy and paste that because I'm worried that I'm gonna keep spelling it incorrectly. When the visibility, I sound like I'm a vampire. Visibility. On a specific source, yeah. So that's visibility state, visibility state. So the difference here, right, is visible. This one here, so from the muted perspective, is muted is basically a true or a false value. Visibility. See, that's what I was worried of. Spelling it wrong. Visibility state would say like muted, unmuted, or in this case, visible, invisible, or invisible, whatever OBS tells us it is. And the source name is the actual source name bit. So we get output these as variables. So if any tasks want to listen to that and do stuff with it, well, cool, they can do. Again, we turn these into descriptors. You don't really need to worry about too much in here. And there's also, is it a mandatory? By default, all variables are mandatory. But in some cases, you might have triggers where you'll only get certain variables if certain parameters had been set inside, for example. So, let's update that so it knows, yes, I'm on the right thing. Visibility state change, yes, that's right. This is right. Okay, get initial value. So this one here, and I've kind of cheated a bit here because I'm copying and pasting from the other one. But effectively, at the high level, it will always come into execute. So can execute, that allows you to gate tasks. So for example, you can have a Twitch task, but you can only use that Twitch task. It will only be available to you if... well, you don't have to, Kirsty. You don't have to raid me. But that would only be available if you were signed into Twitch. If you weren't signed into Twitch, you can't execute it. So this allows you to kind of do that. And if I was to run this now, will it run? Where's the error? Where's the error? Match the event. Is that the right one? Oh yeah, because that should be on invisible, on visible. I'll come through and actually change this in a minute. But if I run this now, that task's not probably going to be in because I haven't done the UI bit. But I can't even remember what I was going to show. What was I going to show? Oh, that was it. The disabled things. So you see this? Well, I say you can't see anything. You see this little red bit on the left? That means that something is disabled. So, for example, this is currently disabled. This flow is currently disabled. But I can go and enable that. And then it's enabled. The red thing's gone. Disable flow. So if I go into here now and show disabled elements, well, oh, there we go. So play Twitch commercial because I'm not an affiliate. Oh, Kirsty, that's Lipstick Dreamer. She's going to lose her mind over that one. Set stream title. That's because I haven't got the OWL thing. If I was to go back to the integrations here and I was to give myself full things, they'd probably unlock. But anyway, the whole point is that you can gate certain things. So by default, it doesn't show you the disabled ones. But if I go, oh, show me the disabled ones, then yeah, you can see them. So you can drag them about if you want to, but I don't care. But yeah, like clips and stuff, that's just gated on other stuff. But if I was to go through here and actually disconnect from Twitch, I'm not sure if it's actually cleared those variables down. We'll have a look now. And then go to that one, show disabled. As you can see there, all the Twitch ones have gone disabled now because it's like, whoa, you're not enabled with Twitch. You madman, what are you doing? Let's connect back up. And oh, there we go. Oh, Twitch is a go-go. So there we go. That's back. And if I go back to here now and then look in there again, go to disabled. Well, no, it hasn't repopulated, but effectively those things will be enabled again the next time I properly load. Again, some of because of the MVVM nature of all of this, some of it still kind of needs propagation of updates on some bits. You can't do this on the main app. I can locally. If I was to go back in now and go to that, oh, maybe I've lost my OAuth things. Oh, that's sad. Oh, because that give me the full permissions back. Give me them all. Yeah, maybe because I reset things there. That was my bad. That was me being a silly boy. But as you see, Twitch is enabled again now. Happy days. And those ones are still disabled because I didn't give myself permissions for them. Right, anyway, so that's what a disabled bit is on this can execute. So what were we doing here? Yeah, we tried to do the visibility bit. And if I just show the method level of what's going on here. So really, there's the actual execute, which is the go off and create the observable for this thing. And that goes, at the heart of it, go to the OBS client. We don't want on-source mute change. We want on-source no, not filter visibility. On-source. Oh, interesting. Scene item visibility, maybe. Ah, there we go, on scene item visibility. I don't know the naming conventions on some of these, to be honest. Because I'm just using a pre-made API. I haven't invented this bit myself. Although that being said, I have had to bring this into my repo because a lovely guy, did a fork of the actual repo I was going to use, but there was loads of weird things with that repo. If you know a .NET developer, you probably won't know what I'm on about, so I won't bother boring you, but it wasn't using Tasker Sync stuff properly. All the events were custom delegates rather than just normal event handlers, so it was really hard to wrap with observables. So anyway, there was a guy who'd gone off, and he'd made a fork, which he tried to do a PR, but they didn't want it. So ultimately, I'm using his fork, because it's far better, in my opinion, than what was previously there. So, yeah, but some of the name conventions he's kept from what was there because he didn't want to reinvent the wheel, and it's a bit odd, some of them. Like, why is one on source muted and one scene item visibility? Anyway, so that's what we want to subscribe to. That's what we want to listen on. So yeah, if there's no source name, we don't want to do anything, so return the variables. If we want to trigger on start, we need to get the initial value of the visibility. So what does this bit do? So we want to go, if it's connected, well, if it's not connected, return false. And we want get scene item. Is there visibility? Get visi. Okay, get scene item properties. Yes? Yeah, I'm kind of guessing here with some of this. Right, we'll need the scene name as well. Okay, so that there again need to pull from the outfit. I haven't actually mentioned this at all, which I probably should have mentioned a few times. So as a front end person, you can kind of hook into this app state. So the app state is basically a huge value bag full of random guff that you can populate, and each one has a key and a potential context key as well. But so, for example, on the app variables, I might actually have an extension for this. OBS, no, get current scene name. There we go. So that there, behind the scenes, this is an extension method, and it actually goes, you know what, go into the transient variables and get me the current scene that we're on. And that should always be populated through virtue of the OBS plugin being available. So, get the scene name, the scene name. And again, we could manually, if we were to go in, if we had a task which went off and got the scene name, it would refresh this behind the scenes for us. But you, for intents and purposes, you can just assume that that's always right. So, item name, scene name. And what's the problem there? Oh, yes, that's fine, because we're returning a boolean. We don't actually want that there. So, scene item properties, these I can't type. And then from here, we want to return scene item properties dot visibility is visible. There we go, visible. And also, if we look at the other bits there, I can make a trigger which returns the lock status. The why would you have the mute tapes when there's a get mute one? Maybe I'm missing something there. You can return any of these things if you want to, but we only care about the visibility for this trigger. So visibility, so that there gets the initial value. So let's assume that you've ticked the box to say, oh, when this app starts, get me the value. That goes off and goes, oh, I'll go off and get that bit of data. That's not right. That's not a mute changed one. That is a source visibility. Oh, no wonder. Sorry, I'm being a total idiot face here. This is one of my that's not one of my events. That's one of their events. I have to make my own here. Because basically, wherever I can, I'm piggybacking off the available classes to save me reinventing the wheel. But do I actually need to? This could be a bit more involved. Not that's a bad thing. It should be okay, really. So if I go into, we'll come back to that bit. I'm going to match events, right? So in this one here, that's not going to be that. That is actually going to be a scene item visibility changed event. No, that's not right. No. What's this? That bit there. What? Oh yeah, C9. Yes. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. Right. Okay. So scene name. We can get that. Let's put source name. Item name. There we go. Is visible. And that one there is mute state. That's not right. That's visibility state. I've just realized that anybody who's watching this, they won't have a clue what I'm on about because my internal monologue probably isn't entirely spilling out, which is probably for the best. But yeah, we don't need all the data, so I'm gonna go populate those bits. That's fine. So this will spoof that to start with. That's fine. Matches is going to take one of those, and again, all we care about in here is that the item name equals that. Because again, this event will trigger anytime any item changes, and we don't really care about that. We don't care that like the Poopsmith one's changing. We only care that the one that you've specified as a source name is changing. So is visible is visible. Right. So let's switch these around. So if we trigger on visible and it is visible, return true. If we trigger on invisible. No, invisible. And it's not visible. Return true. Otherwise, return false. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's everything else. Populate variables. Okay, so this bit here is where we go, right, we've got this this event arg. We need to do something with it. So source name becomes item name. Muted is visible. And this one here becomes visible. Visible. Invisible. Visible. Yeah, that's pretty much it there, right? Okay, so that's cool and good. You know, I was just thinking then, oh, maybe I'll test this in a minute, and I'll have it hide the main Twitch thing. but then you won't actually be able to see it actually reacting to that. So that's a bit of a stupid idea there. I'm full of them, full of stupid ideas. Anyway, let's go to triggers. You know what? I'm just gonna copy and paste it again and rename it. Because why bother writing it all out from scratch when you don't have to? So this one here is going to be on visibility, state change trigger. Yep, cool. So in here you can inject, so this is a Blazor convention, so you can inject in anything within the DI stack here. I'll be honest, there's far more advanced stuff I could be showing, like the integrations, they're all dynamic, and the portals, for example, you can host your own UIs within the application if you wanted to as a plugin. But I'm not really showing that at the moment because that kind of goes outside of the bounds of the normal stuff that most people care about right now. So we've got this autocomplete bit here which shows the current scene items. So for example, when people go, "Ooh, I want to see the visibility of whatever," they can pick from a list or manually put something in if they know that it's been stupid and it is in there. I don't know why I did that over there because you can't see my OBS. So trigger on visible. Trigger on invisible, and we'll update this. Trigger when visible, vis, able. God, I hate this. I hate having to type out invisible and stuff. You know, one time, I think it was a geography project, and I looked at the word mantle so many times that the word mantle was no longer a word to me. It was just an aggregation of letters that meant nothing. It was just an ethereal word that shouldn't be a word, and God, my brain just collapsed in on itself. Those were good times. So trigger on start, that can rename the same, because again, we want to basically allow users to say, hey, the cheat. When it starts up the first time, please populate this. I don't really want to poo-poo other tools which do stuff like this, but there is one very popular tool which I used to use, which is great for all intents and purposes. But when you had buttons and you wanted like your OBS mute toggle button to display the OBS, to actually sync what's happening in OBS, you could only have it update the state when OBS changed. So when the app first loaded, your button didn't have a state, it was just in limbo. And that annoyed me. And there was no easy way, without doing a load of faff, to fix that. So I've that you kind of get that for free here because I hated that, so I've made that better. And these helper info bits, you can turn them off in settings, but most people probably won't, and it just tells them a bit about this. So by default, these triggers wait to be told when the visibility state changes. We issue trigger at the current state when it starts. Yes, that makes sense. On visibility. Yeah, because in a lot of cases, when you want to make new tasks, you can pretty much just go and copy and paste existing ones and just alter them. I mean, sometimes you might want, like for example, the Twitch chat trigger is quite verbose, but that's because you can customize it however you like. But you might just want a on-chat reward one. You just copy and paste that and cut away the bits you don't care about. Anyway, yeah, so, right, on initialized, make sure that we've got an OBS connection and it's connected. Then, if we don't have the current scene items, go off and get the current scene items and populate them into the transient data. So do you remember when I was saying we always know what current scene we're in? That's because of these sorts of actions throughout the place. But most of the time, we should already have the current scene. Get the current scene items, cool. That should be it. That's literally it. There, done. So now we should be able to use that because we did the data, we've done the trigger, the trigger logic, and we've done the that bing you keep hearing, by the way, is it connecting up to OBS. So yeah, let's go to merge mute button. So this one here, right, is the mute version of what we've just done. So that's like on something being muted, right? So then let's make a new one. Manage visibility, and let's put OBS, whatever category. What did I put the other one? Portal setup. Right, let's read that. Portal setup. Portal setup. Again, do you remember I was saying that stuff doesn't actually like always propagate? If I go to here and then back in, it probably will do. There you go. So sometimes if you're using this and you're like, oh, it hasn't updated, just go to a different page and come back. Most things will update, but anyway. So on visibility state changed? Yes. I would like that, please. Source name. Oh, here's all my OBS things. So I want to know when. No, let's do restream chat box. When that goes visible or invisible, whatever. And trigger on. Actually, no, don't care about trigger on start here. And there's the output variables, which we're gonna get. So on here, you know, let's just log. Let's just write to log. What were the variables again? V source.name is now the source dot visibility state. Is that right? Visibility state. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's enable that flow. And to be honest, I don't think I need to reset the trigger, but I'm just gonna do it just in case. And right, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go over to. Actually, you know what? Let's just, because we're right into the logs. I'll load the logs up ready. Right, so there we go. There's that's stuff there. Cool. What was I gonna? I was gonna hide restream chat box. Let's hide that. Do it. If I refresh that, there we go. It's visible. It's not visible. I mean, you can't see me doing that. I'm doing that off screen. But look, it works. It works. We as well. You can see now that the things pop back up. Restream chat's like, oh, I'm here again. I'm here. But yes. I mean, how easy was that? We weren't moving mountains there, were we? That was a really simple thing. Just making a simple task thing. And I'd say that was more complicated than some of the other ones because I had to actually jump through some hoops working out what OBS bits I need to hook into. But yeah, job done. And like I said, stuff's actually kind of saved behind the scenes for you for free. But for those people who like to, I mean, maybe I should have Control and S as a Control and S to just manually save stuff. Yeah, so that's basically it. I'm going to go to bed in a minute. But hopefully that's been worthwhile. That's given us a quick overview on how to do things. And yeah, if there's any questions, go to the I mean, we've got a Discord channel. It's if you go to the Twitch page on the About bit, there's a Discord channel. There's a little set channel for this for my friends to talk to me about it on. But if you're an actual user and you want support, whatever, feel free to come in there. It'll probably, if it gets popular, it'll get its own Discord channel. But or go on the Discord, the GitHub issues if you've got issues with it. If you don't like the Poop Smith. But yeah, that's it. I hope that's been useful for somebody, anywhere, at any time. And yeah, I'll probably be doing games next time I'm on, which won't be for like a week or whatever. Because people keep asking, hey, because I'm on other people's streams, and then we're watching them like, oh, do you stream? Yeah, I stream. Like, oh, I haven't seen you on. Well, that's because for the past 2.5 weeks, I've been writing this thing. So I haven't been streaming. But normally I would be. True story. Anyway, I'm going. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye.